Welcome back to In the Shadow of Fire. This is session number 13, titled Blades in the Ground. Last session, a very large scale combat on the Isle of Nadrasi concluded relatively quickly. The dwarfs were pushed back off of the isle across the Nadrasi Bridge, and the heroic victors traveled back to the town of Kasari Yanwi. One of their number, Halo, had not participated in the conflict. He instead went with a large group of refugees to the supposedly safe refuge of Iskari Yanwi, a town nearby that had fallen some time ago. And that's where we'll be picking up. So, you will see your tokens on the map here, but the only one that's important is Halo's. Halo's token is the old token. I haven't had a chance to update it with the new art yet, but I will get around to it. That said, yeah, the town of Iskarianwi, as you approach it with your, I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 or so people, workers, temples folk, and the like, that have traveled with you in this endeavor. And you can see that there is a small camp just on the northern side of the town as you approach. But it's pretty much as you expected it. A shell of a town, several buildings that possibly in older days looked very similar to buildings that you are familiar with in Kasari Yanwi. The rivers have run dry here. The grass doesn't grow. It just seems like a blighted and burdensome land. There are some bits of vegetation that grow out of the buildings, mostly ivies, but it doesn't seem like they get much purchase on the ground. It seems like they seem to thrive inside of the buildings and not outside of them. There are several rents in the earth as you approach, and definitely a lot of treacherous terrain. The main thing you notice is that the camp, which you presume was the one set up by the initial forerunners, appears to be empty. What would you like to do? Again, you have 200 people at your back. Mostly for Zach.
Yeah, I how far away from the town am I roughly?
Just outside, or
Yeah.
however far away you want to be.
Yeah, I would say like as soon as we kind of get into view of it and see the camp is deserted, I would have most of the people kind of hold back. And I have the one Twilight Knight with me, right?
You do.
Um I am whew, fuck me. Going to ask him to accompany me into the town while we let these 200 kind of stay back.
Okay. And they came prepared. Some of them do have tents. Those that don't have means of safeguarding themselves from the sun and the like are prepared to kind of take refuge with others. Agreements have already been struck in the hours, nearly the full lot of the day, for you to get here.
Mm-hmm.
That said, you and the Twilight Knight approach the camp. You can see that there appear to be a number of tents and a number of cots inside of those tents, and bedrolls out and about. Looks like packs are still present. A couple of them look like they've been torn apart, almost as if by rabid wild animals. You can see that the bedrolls out and about near the fireplace appear to be typical temple kind of traveling gear, or if people want to sleep outside, to be with under the sidereal court. These would be the kind of bedrolls that would be given to temples folk for that purpose. Campfire is dead. Looks like it's been out for some time. Would require a survival roll to tell exactly how long. But the last time that you saw the groundskeeper was about 2 days ago. 3 days ago.
3 days ago.
Yeah. He would have gotten here 2 days ago.
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't take long to get here. I mean, it's about a 6-hour walk, which you would know.
Okay.
But yeah.
Tell me, I'll turn to the Twilight Knight. Do you recognize any of these markings?
I do not.
Hmm.
Would you like to
Concerning.
report this to the lady?
Yes, I suppose it's best she knows sooner rather than later, yes.
In your time dispersing the information amongst the individuals, I did receive a report from my compatriot. The battle on Eldrazi is won.
But it looks like our concerns are not over.
No, I understand, but if this is not a safe place, perhaps a return might be in order.
I agree. I suggest we start moving the
I don't
people
think
back to Kasari Yanwei.
I don't think we'd be able to make it back before nightfall. It does look like most have set up their camps. We may just take on the burden of defending them here, but I will follow your instruction in your order.
Speak to the people themselves. See if they're willing to travel back this evening for the safety of being inside the city, or if they'd prefer to set up camp here. Just know that we are, well, not necessarily safe based on circumstances.
And you wish for me to report this matter to Lady Alcantara, correct?
Aye.
I will do so. The information is transferred from Twilight Knight to Twilight Knight, and Lady Alcantara, your attendant, as you're basically re-entering the town, informs you that the refugees have made their way to Iskari Yanwi and have arrived. According to the guide Halo, it is unsafe at that location, and they mean to return back after receiving word of your victory.
Well, they should be safe enough to come back now, I believe.
Do you wish for them to return back immediately?
If it is unsafe, then I feel as though they ought to, yes.
Okay. So real quick, Zach, I just want to make sure I understood you correctly. You're going to have the Twilight Knight go and tell the others to make a decision as to what they want to do. What were you doing in the meantime?
I want to see if I can do that survival roll and learn a little bit about what's here.
Give it to me.
It's a 15.
So probably about a day and a half. Based on what you're looking at, it does look like at some point it did rain here.
Okay.
Maybe in the last 3 days. It certainly wasn't what put out the fire, but the soil being wet around the camp is strange. The other thing that's strange is the bedrolls appear to be wet as well. They still have
Did
lingering
it
dampness.
rain in Kasari Yanwi?
It did not.
Okay. Why didn't I pick a full caster? Okay. So, and there's no tracks leading away from this camp at all that I can see?
With that 15, not so much. It definitely looks like there's a lot of movement.
Yeah, but I can't like follow a specific trail.
It does look like most parties headed westerly. Specifically, it looks like it's kind of directed towards the very big house on the northwest side of town.
Okay. I am going to investigate that house.
Okay. By yourself, or are you waiting for the Twilight Knight to return?
No, by myself.
Okay.
I feel like I can move in quieter.
Sure. You flutter over there, and it looks like a pretty big manse. Your presumption is that this probably was the seat of power for Iskari Yanwi before it fell. It does look like The doors are wide open, and as you kind of approach, you can hear kind of creaking and fluttering sounds, and then you see a bunch of white birds fly out of a balcony space just above the door. Um, these birds appear to be gulls, and you would know that. I mean, even though we're inland a little bit, this is still technically a coastal town.
Yeah. Do I hear any other movement inside?
No, seems to be just the flippant movements of gulls fluttering around and inside of this building.
Okay, I'll fly in.
Okay. Upon entering in the main entryway, there is a marble tiling set out before you, broken only by a massive centerpiece in the center of this foyer, a statue of a Twilight Knight, in actuality, standing in kind of a solemn martial position. It looks like there are two sets of staircases that go up to a landing some 30 feet above you, and there are several doors that lead out from here. Looks like there's a west wing, an east wing, and kind of a something beyond the foyer with massive doors, possibly a throne room or a courtroom.
Okay, I'm curious what had all of the seagulls like drawn up on that balcony, so that's kind of the direction I'm heading.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check as you make your way fluttering up the staircase.
As a quick question, is anyone else having issues connecting to Roll20? Because
It's
they kicked me out
spiking.
and won't let me.
Yes.
It's spiking.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm about to check the Twitters and see if there's anything wrong with them.
Cool. Wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
No worries.
I got a 15 on that perception.
Alright, so you'll notice that the ceiling above you sags a bit. It looks like it's swollen, but downwards. Like something heavy is kind of settled on top of the floor above, and it's caused the ceiling and the floor to kind of create like a almost bowl-like swell above you. You also notice that there appears to be dripping water coming from that swell, landing on top of the statue that you didn't notice before, because the place is pretty open air, so there's not a lot of echo.
And you're sure it's water? It's clear liquid?
It is water, yes.
Okay. Then I am gonna still try and move up the stairs to see what's causing that weight.
1 second. I have to move people around because someone turned the camera. Okay, we're good. Alright, so you make it up to the landing on the second floor, and you can see that the weight appears to be a large pool of water set directly beneath a massive break in the roof and ceiling above. You can see the sky above, nice and cloudy, but mostly blue. And you can see that there are still a couple of gulls who are present at this water basin, and are drinking from it. When you kind of make your presence known, they don't seem too terribly disturbed by a fae.
Yeah. Is there anything in the water that I can see?
Yeah, it looks like the tiling underneath is very kind of broken apart, and the wood underneath appears to be dark wood, which has bent and kind of swollen out, but it doesn't appear to have dysmorphed enough for it to allow a lot of water to just kind of drop out from underneath. It's effectively acting as a bowl in this state. The tiling, though, it does look like there is patterning. It looks like some sort of mosaic or from the tiles has been formed, but it does look like it's kind of faded from sun damage and the water. But you can kind of make out what appears to be like a person on the artistry here.
Okay. You said there was another area that led upstairs?
There were two staircases that kind of came up, so you took
Okay.
one. They both come to the same place.
Okay, I was just making sure I understood that.
Certainly. Up here, there are three exits from this room, besides the balcony. So there's one that appears to go to the top portion of the west wing, top portion of the east wing, and it seems that one that goes out into the court.
I will check out in the court first.
Okay. The doors that block your passage are still closed. They appear to be made out of some sort of metal or gilded wood. It's a possible presumption based on what you've seen so far of the architecture here. As you kind of move up to touch against them, they are pretty much impervious to your ability to move them due to your size. They appear to be shuttered and barred.
Are there any cracks in the wall that I come on? Are there any cracks in the wall that I can sneak through with my size or anything like that?
No, there aren't any cracks in the wall blocking your passage here. The only cracks in the architecture that you see here are specifically the ceiling above.
Okay, if I fly up the ceiling, is there any holes down in the
Okay.
bottom part that I could like fly like up and over the door? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. You fly out onto the roof proper. Go ahead and make a perception check once you get up there.
18.
All right. Back towards the front of the manse, it does look like a part of the roof is kind of broken away where the balcony, where it would have overhung the balcony. Sitting pretty close to that location is a skeleton. Looks like it's been there for some time. Just kind of sitting. It looks like they have a pack next to them. The pack looks like it's empty. And it looks like they are just dead. They died from sitting.
What kind of skeleton? Like
Elf.
humanoid elf? Okay. And if I check the pack, it's definitively empty?
It is empty with the exception of a journal. When you pull the journal out, you'll note that the pages are covered with, are pretty much melded together due to water. Looks like you can barely make out anything. The only thing of note about the journal for you would be that there is a name. Looks like it's been burned into the leather of the cover. And that name is... 1 second. It is not 1 second. It will be with you in just 1 second. Right. Olgwin.
Okay. I am gonna try and do as little damage to the book as possible and like store it in my pack.
Okay.
I don't need to like fuck around with it, but maybe someone has like control water and can fix it or something.
Sure. Shrinking it down to your size and putting it in your pack doesn't seem to do too much to it to distort its integrity, and you pop it into your bag. Making your way to the northern portion of the manse, you do see that there is a hole that does look like it goes into the courtroom. What you see is a very massive, very ornate elvish courtroom. Looks like it is covered with very fine stone, but it looks like the gilding and possible like fineries that were present in that place have long since been taken. You do notice that the balcony you are attempting to go down to is not there. Looks like it is actually crushed down to block off the first floor access into the courtroom. And you can see that the white sands in the center of the courtroom appear to have sunlight kind of coming down on them. And the throne of the courtroom looks like it's broken and kind of fallen apart, and it's hardly recognizable as a seat of power. Yeah, it looks like the second floor balcony led to a series of audience seats in the courtroom. And it does look like there are audience seats on the first floor as well. But as I mentioned, any finery that was present inside the courtroom um, looks like it's been taken, and it looks like a lot of the courtroom has been kind of broken in on itself.
Yeah, it's to be expected.
All right. Are you checking for anything in particular in there, or are you wanting to descend down into there, or are you moving to somewhere else?
If I don't see any movement or any like traces of any people, then I'm just gonna probably. I mean, I would probably fly down quick to get a closer look at the ground level because I can't see like under the balconies, if that makes sense. But just
Okay.
like a quick scan.
Okay. If you are descending down and kind of checking out the area, go ahead and make an investigation check for me as you kind of search the courtroom.
Oof, that's a 6.
You do find that there are a couple of bedrolls in here. It looks like people had made their um, home here for some time. It looks like the White Sands that I mentioned in the center of the area, which again, if you're not familiar with law in John Prey realm, typically when court is held, the accused stand in the White Sands and the zone of truth is cast upon them. And if they deny it, if they try to resist it, then it's known. It's to ensure that the oath of honesty is maintained. That said, it does look like they were using the White Sands or near the White Sands as a place for campfire. But it does look like the campfire is scattered and the stones have kind of moved off of it, possibly due to rain or just the elements coming in from the ceiling.
Is this campfire similar to the one we saw out by the other tents, or is this one older?
Very older.
Got it. If there's nothing else of note, then I think I'm gonna move on.
Fair enough. Okay. So you fly back up and out, or just out one of the windows?
I would probably go back out the way I came because I still have the both wings in the upper area to check.
Okay. Well, I can go ahead and tell you that those aren't going to be too much, too exciting an event.
I just being thorough.
Fair enough. But what I will do is while you're searching there, Lady Alcantara, I suppose we'll start with you. When you arrive back into town, what's your first order of business? Probably unmuting. That might be a good one.
Sorry, I thought I was muted, so I hit the button to unmute myself and apparently muted myself. Anyway, what I was saying was I believe that last time we had already discussed sending the prisoners back and had already accomplished that.
Correct.
So I imagine probably the next thing that I would do is simply to head back to the keep, and I'd imagine probably changing out of whatever I have, because again, like I imagine I have some sort of like more regal sort of armor, more for show than protection. So figure change out of that, and then I'm not entirely sure what I would do next. We were discussing the possibility of sending Alvin out to scout, which I forget. Did we actually do that already?
On Nadrasi, he did kind of scout the island already, yes. But I believe that with everything that was done, he still was in line to return back to town.
Right.
In fact, I think he ferried a couple of you back to town.
Yeah,
Not-
I might have ferried some people back to town.
Yeah, Leaf was at least one of the people. But yeah, definitely not you. You got to lead from the front. But your Twilight Knight has told you that there is something troubling happening at Ascarianwi and your people will be returning.
So I might, after I get changed, what I might do is I know that he's not here, but this is like the next logical thing in my mind is go and talk to Ulair or whoever is there to find out if his monster hunter group, if they had found anything in their search.
We can work that out perfectly fine. I've prepared for it. You
Okay. I
had
figured you probably had, but you know, I know Tim's not here. So.
understandable. Anytime a player is not here, I always prepare. That's why I like knowing well before. But that said, you make your way to the Monster Hunters Guild. You are basically getting cheers the entire time of the people who have remained. The soldiers of stop and salute every single militia person. It seems like they definitely recognize the victory. The day is yours and the victory is yours. And you make your way to the Monster Hunters Guild. When you arrive, one of the attendants says, milady, are you looking for a lair?
I'm looking for information.
I can try to help you, but the guildmaster's not here, milady. He has left. An emergency that waited for him when he arrived back from the island. I congratulate you, and I'm so thankful for the defense of the town.
Thank you. I am wondering, the troop that we sent out to Kasari, I'm blanking on the name.
Iskari Yanwi.
Iskari Yanwi. The troop of monster hunters that was sent out to Iskari Yanwi, did they ever return or send word of what they may have found there?
My lady, that is exactly why Ulair is not here. Asher sent forward to the guild a distress beacon. It seems that him and his were under direct assault from monsters in that town. Cut from you and on to Leaf, what are you doing in town?
Leaf, when he gets back from the war or the battles, would clean himself up and maybe try to find out what's going on with his.
Well, sorry to cut you off. Keep in mind you did have that exchange with the fellow foe fighter. I know it was last session and it was late. I just want to make sure that has happened. It's kind of moving on from there. It's kind of mid-afternoon.
Yeah, what exactly did he say to Leaf again?
Basically, that he is kind of planning to use secret passageways that the dwarf merchant lord is going to give him to go and assassinate or go and directly confront the king of Balenrath.
I don't even remember it being exactly like that, so maybe I misunderstood it. But,
That's fine.
that's a little bit more. I mean, more than I remember. Okay. What the Leaf would do is, I guess, could I have a meeting with this person at a location of my choosing? That's kind of, maybe at a park off in the distance, so that nobody can hear us or scry on us.
He told you that because it was again about mid-afternoon. He told you that after your meeting that he was going to basically shelter in, and tomorrow he had a meeting with the King of Balenrath. It sounded like his conversation with you had concluded, and because of his company, he isn't terribly free to just roam about. Remember, he came with the Korash mercenaries that arrived from Osnobble.
That's right. Thanks for reminding me.
No worries.
Now I'm just going to think out loud, but in my crappy French accent, so that you guys will know what I'm thinking. I thought is, should I tell Lady Alcantara? But then I remember the first rule of the Foo Fighters organization, or Foe Fighters organization, is you don't tell anybody about the Foe Fighters organization. So I can't tell her, unless it was, maybe if it was like threatening to her life or something, I would tell her. But so I must think about this on my own and mull it over.
Okay. Spend some time at home with, yourself considering that. Cool. Cyril, again, arriving back, probably not too much besides studying and planning. The dwarfs do seem like a threat, especially with their launchable fortresses. You did your studying on that and got as much information as you could from that. Is there anything in the evening time that you in particular want to kind of deal with, delve into, or what?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, so that I would take that knowledge and he would start drawing and sketching and sort of as much schematics as he can and get that down and send his page to see if he can get that through to the capital through the teleportation circle.
Okay. And these are your presumptions as to what, again, not presumptions. First off, the structure
Yeah.
entirely.
He was inside of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then probably presumptions as to how it might have been launched.
Correct.
And schematics that you might plan out there.
Right. And you mentioned the whole thing about an angle and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Some sort of trebuchet or cannon, what have you. Cool. Boom. And, all right, Dan, when you get back to town, again, it looks like your folks are drinking. You spoke to the Korash mercenaries. You kind of have an idea of what's going on there. And I presume headed back to check the books. No new weird ships, nothing crazy. But is there anything in particular that you want to do in the evening portion of the day?
Guys,
Based on your rolls, I am assuming you're going incognito mode and playing chess to wind down the day, right?
yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Perfectly acceptable. I don't really have much to
No, that's
do with
fine.
that, so we're going to go ahead and snap back to Halo. You head down into the main room after checking the west wing and the east wing. What you will note is the west wing of the manse is more damaged than the east wing, and it does look like a portion of the west wing looks like there's a sinkhole that drops into the earth quite a bit, but it doesn't look like it goes anywhere else, like you probably were presuming when I said sinkhole, like a hole in the ground that leads to other caverns. No, it literally is just a sinkhole with a bunch of broken rubble tiling, portions of the ceiling above from where the pillar dropped out underneath it, and it appears to be about 400 feet deep. Just a massive hole in the ground. 400 feet deep and probably about 50 feet wide.
Okay. That's a long way down. Can I see the bottom?
Yeah, because the way the sun is kind of shining down through the ceiling at this specific juncture, it looks like the pillaring, like it took a pillar out based on the pillaring like next to you, and it looks like the ceiling above had a similar pillar structure, like both pillars were being used to support the ceiling, and all of it came down, so like the ceiling is like dropped out from there. So yeah, the sunlight at this current time, it's pretty much straight down to the bottom. It's not directly overhead, but it's close enough that you can see that the bottom is just a 400 foot down chasm filled with the innards of the manse you're in.
Okay. I guess I'll just take note of it and kind of move on. There's not much a little fairy can do about a giant sinkhole. You know what I mean?
The other thing I would note too is it does look like the rubble beneath. It does look like there's a bit of water in there as well. I guess that's
Okay.
another important factor. All right. You head back out, and are you going anywhere in particular? Not too far near you, or pretty close to you, are the skeletal kind of stone remains of probably some sort of fortress or fortification that might have been an outer kind of structure. There appears to be a library and a church. The library is the one that doesn't have the buttresses. The church does. They do look like the same building though. Kinda. There are some stone buildings that have been kind of swept away in dust. There is a tower on the southwestern side that has a lot of seagulls flying around it. and then some other hodgepodge structures. Some holes in the ground, a big windmill.
Yeah, I'm going to the seagulls. I don't know if this is how you're thinking, but seagulls are carnivores, and I'm looking for bodies.
Okay. So you make your way that way.
Mhm.
Are you going around the back of the library or the front?
I would probably go around the front, like between that and the church.
Okay. You would see that the ground in front of you appears to be broken up. A probably 30-foot wide chasm seems to have erupted in the earth. It has kind of rounded edges. It looks like the sands have kind of fallen in and kind of make like slightly less jagged than the picture shows.
Yeah.
But it does look like the actual earth has kind of broken up. As you kind of get closer to it, you would note that this has caused some structural damage on the southern side of the church. And you can also see to the bottom of this crevasse, it only being about 40 feet deep, but it looks like there's a hodgepodge network of small little holes that kind of trace down into the earth. It almost looks like the insides of an ant's nest.
Oh fuck. Hi, kitty kitty.
You want
Shit.
fear?
These structures, they don't look natural forming, do they? They look like something, not necessarily a person, but some kind of entity created those holes, right?
If you had to venture a guess, yeah, it does look like they were created, probably by some sort of burrowing animal.
Do I know anything about the local, like fauna that might cause something like this?
You can make a nature check if you'd like, but I will note too that the size of these holes, again, you being a tiny creature, doesn't look like it's going to bar you from entry, but it does look like the normal medium-sized creature, a la D&D, would have some trouble and would have to squeeze through these holes.
Okay. Oh, well, I don't know shit about fucking animals.
You do know about a creature known as the bugbear, which you think burrows, has massive mandibles and bug eyes, and it could shoot acid from its face. He rolled a 1, by the way, if you're watching at home and think... Yeah, that's what your character thinks, like a bugbear is.
Oh, man. I've never seen one, but they sound scary.
I read about it.
Okay, I don't know if Halo would feel comfortable going down into those tunnels without checking in with the Twilight Knight first.
What you would note too is that, speaking of Twilight, it's getting later in the afternoon, having searched the entire manse and tried to make your way there. But yeah, you should be able to hop and skip over the crevasse if you want to head to the tower.
Yeah, I want to check the tower real quick before I circle back to the people.
Okay. Tower's probably only about 20 or so feet higher than the manse. It looks like the door is completely covered off and blocked off with rubble. But the birds seem to kind of flutter around the top portion of the tower.
Can I fly up there?
You can only fly 30 feet and then you get grounded, right?
I can fly. I mean, if I dashed, I could go 60 feet. So I'm wondering if I could like catch on a windowsill.
Okay.
If I could like kind of like, you know, fly and land for a second and hover there, and then like fly and land for a second and hover there, and kind of like scale the
I get
side
you.
of the building that way.
So,
'Cause I-
fairy climbing. I like it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make an athletics check.
How
Alright.
very athletic are you?
Dem dares a 3.
So what you very quickly realize is once you kind of get to a certain altitude, 30 or so feet, you start kind of grasping onto stuff after kind of dashing up and getting as far as you could. The wind seems to be very prominent in this portion of the area. And looking at the seagulls, once you kind of grasp onto kind of a tile area, you realize that they are kind of just floating about. They're not really fluttering their wings all too much. It's just kind of a soaring process. They're circling the tower.
Okay. I am going to wave out to the seagulls and say, "Hey, can someone help me?
Oh, right.
I'm a
'cause you can-
fairy, and I can speak to them."
All right. Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Will
Which
it
you have
go up?
You have advantage on.
27.
27.
All right. One of the seagulls hears you and kind of drops down and lands kind of on a bit of loose stone that's kind of jutting out from the side of the tower where you kind of caught hold of. Looks at you. The seagull's pretty big. You're about a foot tall, so you're about the same size. But with its wings and kind of build, it's a bit bigger than you. And he can't really reply to you. You said you wanted help, right?
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
like pointing up to there to like indicate in his language, I need you to fly me up to the top so I can see the top of the tower.
Loud squawking commences. You hear squawking in return. A couple other seagulls kind of flutter down, kind of land near you. One of them just takes a nasty shit right on the stone near where you're at. You can tell that most of the stone here does have spatterings of gull shit. And the three of them kind of flutter around you and kind of grasp a hold of you with their feet. And the three of them kind of work in tandem because your persuasion check was 27 and fly you up. The three of them kind of battering their wings and kind of pulling at you as they lift you up that way and deposit you in a windowsill on the top tower before flying back into the throng.
What do I see?
All right. Sitting in the top of the wizard's tower here, you note that there are a lot of books on the walls. It looks like a lot of bookshelves that have fallen inwards due to the floor kind of crushing in on itself. There are holes in the ceiling, and the bookshelves underneath those holes in the ceiling appear to have been the ones that have gotten knocked over primarily. It does look like there's a massive hole in the center of the floor that descends down the tower, you presume. There's a desk that looks like it's lost two of its legs and is kind of like sloped down towards that hole in the middle. Yeah, there's about 3 dead people that look like they've only been dead for, you don't know for sure, but definitely not as long as this town's been around. But a little bit more recent than, that. If you'd like to make a medicine check or survival check, your choice. Again, the result determines, or the choice determines what the result will be. Then you can go ahead and make one of those.
I got a nat 1 on the medicine check.
You think they've probably been dead for a couple of months or a couple of days. You're not sure.
Yeah.
They're definitely not any of yours. And based on the amount of pecking that's been done to them, they're unrecognizable.
Okay.
They are wearing leather armor, though, and that looks like it's been kind of ripped apart to get to the deliciousness or fetidness therein.
The delicious organ meats.
All right. We'll go ahead and take a pause from you. Like I said, it is kind of later in the day. It does look like there was a staircase, but it looks like most of it's kind of broken out underneath. Descending the tower will be a bit easier for you because you can fly down the steps. But you know the door beneath is broken out. You'll have to leave the same way you entered.
That's fine.
All right. Back in town, it's getting late into the evening. I'm assuming everyone's just turning in for the night. Is that correct? Okay. And then he took his headset off. Doesn't he know it's the Zach show tonight?
I can hear you. I needed a second. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Go take your second. Take your second. I'll go ahead and strive to make it fun for everyone else. Okay, is there anything that you want to do during the evening time? Anybody else?
So actually, there is one thing that I
Perfect.
want to do during the evening time. So during the evening time, I'm going to sit down at my desk in my room, and I'm going to start writing stuff on a piece of paper.
Okay.
I'm basically drafting up what seems to be a short message. Then my one question to you, John, is...
Star of the show's back. We don't need... No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, that's
no.
fine.
No.
Screw it, I'm out.
No, Matt. What's your question?
No, my one question for you is... So I know, obviously I know of my mother, but how familiar, like, would I have, like, still, like, be familiar enough with her?
That you would recognize her?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's mostly childhood fleeting memories. You were probably only a year or two old before when she left.
Alright. So I would probably have some memories. So
Yeah, they'd be vague. They definitely wouldn't be like crystal, but they would definitely be there.
in that case, I'm going to think very simply and straightforward. After much deliberation, might as well just do it the most straightforward way. Where are you? And why are you still talking to Dad? And I'm casting Sending.
Okay. You hear a reply, a voice you've never heard. Woman's voice, which says, "Oh, good. You found a way. Because your father shouldn't feel guilt. It's good the affliction has hit him, so that he could forget it." And then silence.
Alright, in that case, I'm probably going to cast it again and just say, you only answered half the question. And also, I don't see it as good to simply forget.
Trust me, child. In time, you'll understand the necessity for deception. And then the phone shuts off.
Alright, that's it. I'm out.
Fair enough. I dig it. I figured it was something that could happen. I was just waiting for when.
When I could actually access third level spells.
Yep, that's today.
Perfect. Speaking of cool kids out in the wilds, no, we weren't speaking of that, but now we are. Halo, you descend back down, and do you start making your way back to the camp to talk to the Twilight Knight? He says that most folks are not sure about traveling this late in the day, but a lot of them have basically started making their way back that way since it has been stated that it's safe to return back to the town. Some folks would prefer it if we stopped and rested, but depending on how safe you feel this place is, the Twilight Knight says he's prepared to mobilize these folks and get them moving now. You're muted. Still muted. Test? Someone else say something so I know it's not me.
Hello.
Something so I know
Yo.
it's not me.
Okay. Cool. It is definitely Zach.
Hey, maybe we could just talk for him.
Fair enough.
He could
What does he say, Kevin?
like, oh, fuck. No. And he's like, what?
He's saying he loves wearing sexy leather pants.
Hell yeah.
Favorite player is Kevin. He's like, Leaf is the best.
That's what he said. He said, my favorite player is Kevin. His character Leaf is the best. And that's his character saying that. He was saying that in character.
And Zach also said,
But Zach also said it. Because that's how character crossing works.
So wait, you're saying that Kevin's Zach's metagaming. That's
No.
what I'm hearing.
No, that's character crossing. Is when you assume that things you know the character knows. Or things you learned with an older character, your new character knows.
oh, since he's figuring out his sound, I got something that Leaf would like to do.
Okay, give it to me.
Alright, he also just got 3rd level spells and got the spell Sending.
Oh,
So
you too,
he
huh?
Hell yeah. That's the best spell ever in a game like this. You could send a message to anybody. So I'm going to send a message to my 3rd grade teacher and just tell her how great she was. No, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a message to the leader of the foe fighters, my leader. I'm sure there's like a whole organization like the
Sure.
Pyramids.
So we haven't had much chance to discuss it, but you would know that the leader of the foe fighters is a individual named. I've got it here. Mathis. His last name is
Walter.
Colgren. That's what it was. Mathis Colgren. And Mathis Colgren is an elf, but he is a drow elf, which you would know. Again, my campaign setting drow are different. Drow aren't ruthlessly evil, but he is a servant of the Dreamweaver. And you would know that his desires for the foe fighters are very much inspired by his religious practices. Servants of the Dreamweavers want peace. Servants of the Dreamweavers want anybody who can, anybody who has the aspirations to fulfill their dreams, the opportunities to do just that. So the foe fighters' primary goals, as you understand them, have always been to protect and liberate people who are downtrodden.
Yeah, that sounds good.
They're out of character. Effectively, they're like the Harpers, but they're a bit different.
He knows the Harpers are lame and
Yeah,
awesome.
right. That's exactly right. If I were going to choose a franchise, I would choose the one that has 3 total viewers watching its Twitch stream instead of the one that has oh they got a lot. Anyways. No.
Hey, we're popular with 3 people.
I think it's mostly just Kevin and 2 other.
I'm up business.
Hey, I'm also watching the stream. It's up there somewhere. So it's me and Kevin and
Andy. I bet you the third
Andy?
person is Andy.
Actually, not at the moment, but I was.
Fair enough. Anyways, not that I'm sad. It's fine.
Did I send a message to
Yeah.
Mathis?
There, I'm back.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
So what's the message you want to send? Do you want to send the message openly, or do you want to send it in the side chat? Kevin.
Send what
I'll
mess?
Send it open.
Kevin.
I'll just send it openly.
Okay.
Would you rather side message?
Your choice. Your choice.
I'll do it after.
We could shift back to Zach, but since we had you, I mean, if you have it now, go ahead and do it.
Okay. Well, it's gonna be off.
Why is your sound messing up?
I don't know. It's because it's push to talk. And that's weird. But let's go back to Zach, and then I'll
Okay.
do it.
Zach, welcome back. So yeah, the Twilight Knight says if you want to get these people moving, I can get them moving. If not, we can hold here. But again, if you don't think the town is safe, it's probably best we move them.
I'm very scared of bugbears, so I think we don't necessarily need to make it all the way back to Kasari Yanwi, but I do want to get out of the immediate area here.
So what you're saying is you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
You saw signs of bugbears in the town?
Well, there's I didn't see signs of bugbears necessarily, but like I couldn't think of another thing that would have like burrowed these holes, and like I saw what looked like some kind of creature had burrowed up from under the ground, and that's where I'm concerned about the attack from there, and the bugbear is the only thing that comes to my mind, and those things are terrifying.
You're the expert. You come from a monster hunting town. I'll go ahead and tell the lady that's what is presumed to be here. A subterranean group of bugbears.
Or some other subterranean thing.
Sure.
Again, I'm not the monster hunters.
Well,
I thought we sent them.
you're from the town, he says,
Oh,
and then he shifts to phone call mode. The information is passed to Lady Alcantara, and then the Twilight Knight, based on your request, starts mobilizing the people who are tired after having walked for 6 hours. And he says, we'll have to move. There are bugbears in the town. I don't know what that means. They're creatures that can burrow out from the ground, is what you're hearing him mostly say. And they seem to be concerned. And a little bit of the fright kind of pushes them to get their stuff back together. Sorry.
Yep. I am also going to request if Lady Alcantara can send a small retinue of like a handful of Twilight guards to like meet us halfway and guide the people safely back to town.
If the Twilight Knight replies, if Iskari Yanwi is the source of our conflict, unless those Twilight Knights could be delivered instantaneously, they would serve us no purpose. The further we get away from the town, the less trouble we will have.
Aye, but I think the people will feel safer if we met them halfway.
For a show of that kind of grace, I suppose that would be fine. As that being the case of Lady Alcantara, you would know that your 40 Twilight Knights, led by the Captain of the Watch, were left by you on Nadrasi.
Right. So 2 quick questions. Number 1, do I know anything about bugbears that burrow?
Go ahead and make a nature roll.
It's a 17.
As the lady of a Monster Hunters Guild focused town, you would know that no, they don't burrow. Bugbears do not burrow. But based on the descriptions of what you've been hearing, it's possibly Kruthiks, it's possibly antlions, also known as ankegs. It's possibly umberhulks, very small ones to be sure. But there are
maybe a baby purple worm.
Yeah, it could be purple worms, but it would have to be really small. The thing that kind of makes you kind of think the most are Throkua, which are also known as fire snakes.
Okay, I'm not going to relay any of that to Halo or to the Twilight Knight, because they're all bad, bugbears or other things. And I don't feel like publicly humiliating Halo. And then the
well,
other
at least not
thing,
right now.
Right. The
Not
other thing
publicly. I think the key was publicly.
Fair.
The other thing is, since I don't have Twilight Knights, what instead I might do is set out a retinue of the militia, just like 20 or so of them, to meet up. Since, the Twilight Knights are still there, I figure it's not the same effect, but it's the same general idea.
And they will be led by the former or current Captain of the Watch, that one guy whose name I've already forgotten.
Give me a second, I can find it.
I'm not that concerned. They go.
Zerbos.
Sure, Zerbos. They head south for Iskari Yanwi. Alright, if that's the case, traveling by night, Halo, you and the folks Go ahead and roll me a 20-sided dice.
Ironically enough, because of that roll, you encounter bugbears.
All right. On your way back, before encountering the militia folk, you see that there's kind of an old road that you were kind of following, but it looks like this one kind of splinters off in a way and kind of moves and meanders towards a small grassy hill. But as you're kind of floating a little bit higher and trying to keep an eye on all the people, make sure nothing's like erupting from the ground and bug-bearing people to death, you see that on top of this kind of hill, there's a standing stone, not too dissimilar from the old kind of religious sites and religious sites of importance for the early worshippers of the sidereal court.
That we didn't pass that on our way through initially.
Well, if you did, you didn't see it. It wasn't noticeable or noted.
And what do I know about that, like, practice?
It's your religion is just that. So the Bright Star is one of the members.
Okay, yeah.
The
But like
sidereal.
this
yeah.
site from a distance, I can't determine what like specific god or shrine or anything it's for.
It's literally
It's not.
just a standing stone up on a hill. You don't know if it's. Yeah, you've never seen or heard about this being present this close to the town.
Yeah, I have to go investigate that.
We'll keep moving, as the Twilight Knight says, unless you wish my company. Then we can halt here.
No, you stay with the people. I can do this on my own.
Okay. You make your way up the hill to the standing stone. You look at it, and it's at this time perfectly twilight. It's literally that nice, point where evening is just about to end. The sun is literally just a small bead of light that doesn't do much to distort the sky above. For all intents and purposes, it is nighttime. The stone you're looking at is covered with markings, very similar to markings your glass blower uses in their artistry, very similar to the patternings that are used in illuminated texts of the Bright Star. You definitely note that the patterns that are utilized here are not of the Bright Star. They are instead of the Mother, who is another member of the Zodiac, the Sidereal Court. And it does look like there are a number of different kind of prayers that have been kind of etched on the stone. And it seems that one in particular, kind of centered in there, is most prominent. And it seems to have been repeated a couple of times on the stone. The prayer in question says, through protection, through action, through grace. And that appears to be the most prominent prayer on the standing stone. It doesn't look like this is a used religious site. It looks like it's pretty well forgotten. The stone, despite everything else looking overgrown and kind of out of place, the stone appears to be perfect, unmarred by weather or anything to that effect.
Okay. I have a priest's pack with all my religious equipment on me. Because this site hasn't seen a lot of prayer recently, I am going to take a moment and perform a small, quick ritual if I can.
Since it's your religion, you'll have advantage for the roll, but go ahead and make a religion check for me.
22.
Okay. 1 second. All right. So in the process, you recite the primary prayer and kind of perform the accurate, correct rituals that are associated with the Mother, knowing that she is basically the essence and the deity of the Witwaven that represents spring. You would know that the current time frame, it being spring, is also fortuitous to your prayer. And as you utter the words and perform the last rite, you feel kind of a grace come to you. As you look up and can see that directly above you, it appears that the mother's specific star sign has sat registered directly above you. You watch as a bit of starlight kind of gleams on the stone, and you kind of feel emboldened by her grace. And I'll send you a private message as to what that means for you. But the prayer is concluded.
Awesome.
You huff, 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 and hustle, wings batting and burnishing towards the group to catch up with all 200 of them. Great, good deal. You make it back in the middle of the night. Everyone is tired. Some people are kind of pulling off their boots at the end of the trip, entering into the temple, and you can see that they have bruised their feet. It's definitely a hard walk that's been engaged on here. And yeah.
Yeah, I am going to spend some time like going around to the people who look like they're struggling the most and giving them my like calming emotion moment to like kind of settle them into sleep.
Perfect.
I also offer any of the merchants who don't want to travel all the way across the city, they are welcome to stay in the temple for the evening. We have plenty of accommodations because, I mean, some of our people disappeared in Kasari Way, so we should have plenty of space. If, like, the merchants don't want to travel all the way back to the merchant district, they're welcome to stay in the temple this evening.
Sounds good.
And if they want to talk to me about my religion,
Yeah, some of them are people who adhere to church practices and do show up here for it. So, yeah, they're not uncommon folks. The town, you're kind of a sociable individual. It's not like these are people you've never seen before in your life.
right.
But yeah, seems to go pretty well. Information regarding their return, Lady Alcontra arrives to you in the middle of the night. Again, however you want to approach that, it's up to you. I presume that Cyril is waiting for a reply back, and I'm fighting my cat to...
Sure, there's really nothing else at the moment that he
Sure.
could think he wants to do, yeah.
Leaf is still mincing over his own kind of situation with what to do next regarding this information. And Alvin is probably getting back from a long night of just wrecking poor unfortunate unknowns and heading to bed. Yeah, anybody want to do anything before we switch to the next day?
Nah, I'm all set.
No. I think I'll...
That's it. Okay.
What's that? Oh,
Sent you the message.
the sending. The reply you get back from that, if you want it in the open, or do you want it in the side?
Open is fine, as long as it's hard for anybody to understand, and they're like,
It'll be
"Oh,
by whatever means necessary to allow for the most possible peace.
all right, that
I was right. He's a spy. He's flying to kill me.
allows for a lot of interpretation. Well, you know, not really, but for people that hear it, they think it does. You know,
Yeah. Okay. And Lady Alcontra, you wait till the next morning if you're going to do anything regarding Halo's return.
Yeah, I figure he's
Yeah.
back. Not much to do.
Okay. Next day, free day. First person who speaks gets first dibs as to what they do. And we'll just
I want to
go
bring
from there.
that book to Cyril that I found at the thing and see if he can extract any information from it.
Okay. So in response to you dedicating to Cyril being the person you're going to, Cyril, you wake up. Well, you finish your evening time. What would you like to do in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the morning to prepare?
Sleep. Cyril to prepare?
Yeah. What are you doing for the day?
He probably would check in with oh gosh, I don't have my notes in front of me. I don't remember people's names. his assistant,
Uh-huh.
and probably eventually send a note over to see if Alcantara has need for him.
Okay. Well, then, since you're not doing much of anything, the note will basically move to Matt, so keep that in mind. And Halo would arrive at your tower.
Okay.
That's Halo arriving at the temple.
Sorry.
Or the Tower Lord.
So I, is he the one who greets me at the tower?
Probably not.
Probably not.
They
Probably
move,
a
they move
page
you
or
to
something.
they move you to him though.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then as I am approaching him, Cyril, I'm glad to see you survived. Oh, so I have this where is it? There's if it's in here. Book. You see this? It's a bit waterlogged, and I could only get the name out of the leather binding, and I was hoping you might be able to get maybe more out of it. I don't know. And I hand him the book.
Okay. So he would do the normal greetings and good to see you, all that kind of stuff. And do I notice anything about the book that would I be able to make sense of it?
So as the book's passed over to you, what you would recognize is that the book being opened might damage the pages unless it's done very carefully. So your mindset is switched from what's in the book and should I check out to read what it is to I'm going to need very specific tools and assistance to be able to get anything out of this.
Mm-hmm.
That said, do you have calligraphy tools as an proficiency?
I do not.
All right. Do you have any tool proficiencies at all?
I don't think that I do. Is that right? My background is sage.
Yeah, I should have one. Hold on.
Do I have some? Hold on, let me check.
Checking. You do not. Okay, but because you have Sage, I guess I will give you some sort of benefit. Okay, so what you'll be doing here is you'll want to make an intelligence check to see if you can attempt to salvage anything about this book. Again, what I have told him, I will tell to you. It is a leather-bound book. The pages inside look like they are basically sopped together. And it does look like the exterior cover has a name that's been burned into it, the name being Olgwyn, and it's written in the Elvish naming runes.
Do you want help with that, Cyril? I say as he kind of starts to walk away.
Sure.
Oh, you already rolled, didn't you?
No, I did not. That's my
Oh, no?
that's
Okay.
my portent roll for the day.
Got it. Yeah. I
Unless,
have an idea.
do you have training in calligraphy tools?
No, but I have enhance ability.
Okay, that'll work. Using the help action will not work unless you're trained.
I'm gonna cast enhance ability and give him. It's an intelligence check, so
Advantage on-
Fox is cunning.
Yep.
So it's
There you
advantage
go,
on this?
bud.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the fox is cunning.
The what is what?
He cast the spell Fox's Cunning on you, which means
okay,
your
cool.
intellect for the next hour, so long as he maintains concentration on it, is enhanced by the ability to roll advantage. So you're going to make an intelligence check here. You have advantage for the roll, but it's straight intelligence.
Got it.
And because you do not have calligraphy tools, here's the rub. It doesn't matter. Your roll is not bad. You would have had disadvantage on the roll, but the advantage evened it out. 22 is pretty good. You're very, very quick to learn that pretty much all of the pages inside of this document are ruined, with the exception of the last page. Based on the way it was settled or whatever, wherever it was, it looks like a lot of it was underwater within something, except for like the top or so page.
So I would assume that like Halo is with him when he's doing this, and so like Cyril is like talking out loud and he's like concentrating and sort of saying all this stuff as it's happening. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So the third to the last page, you're not able to work out much. It looks like a bunch of just writing that's been blurred. You can make out like thes and its and stuff like that, but not enough to contextualize. The second to the last page, you recognize there's a drawing here, and your mind kind of probably, I mean, I'm not going to describe your emotions, but what you see on the page appears to be a schism drawn out on the second page. The words that are near it say, "These things, they eat for no reason." Blah 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 blah. Weird melted words. There are so many of them. Blah blah blah. Can't read it. And then the last page. I've run out of food. I don't think I'm gonna last much longer. There's a lot of water, fortunately, that comes down. It seems to rain here a lot more than the surrounding regions. Hopefully someone will find me. I don't think Berwin, Degard, and Marcus got out of that tower alive. I hope the rest of them inside the mansion are able to stave off and survive on what supplies we found there. If you find this, run. Don't stay in this place.
So Cyril would say, "Describe this place to me."
Yeah, I will give you all the information about the manor, like the town that I found, the holes that were dug out of the ground. Also, I found 3 bodies in the tower, so I'm assuming that those are the 3 names that were listed. They did not make it out. Yeah, so I'm guessing now instead of bugbears, it might have been schisms that made those holes out of the ground, which means
It
that
sounds
they
like it.
are not just on Nadrasi Island, they're on the Rended Island too, bud.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So Cyril will say, "Halo, may I keep this book? It would add to our knowledge if I put it in my library."
Well, the book is wasted. You literally have 3 pages.
Well then,
Yeah, you
fine,
could just
whatever.
copy the words. It's yours. I brought it to you because you're the guy who needs that. I will also tell you that there were a lot more books in the tower that I saw, but I don't know how relevant those would be. Did they seem damaged significantly, like the ones that were on the bookshelves in the tower?
There were some bookshelves that were knocked over, some bookshelves that were left to the elements, but there were several more that were covered because the tower's ceiling wasn't as busted.
Okay, so I don't know if they have more information there, but something to consider, Cyril, is that if they were dealing with a schism, there may be Mage Tower information there that we can recover further. I had to get the people out.
We should bring this to Alcontra's attention.
Lead the way?
Yeah, feel free to go ahead and engage with that. If anybody wants to interrupt them and do their bit, I gotta feed my cats treats real quick because apparently that's their straight mafia style, trying to get me to give them. Snacks.
Oh yeah, you're ours fucking surrounded, buddy.
Yeah.
So guys, I thought of something. What if it isn't just straight up schisms? What if it's a schism bugbear hybrid?
Oh man, Mama Nodalve had some fucking horrifying stories about bugbears, and I don't know, fucking mating with a schism, that's terrifying.
But not impossible.
If it's got a hole, someone's gonna try and put it in there, you know?
That's fair. Or vice versa.
So Cyril would start writing another note, this time kind of documenting what he saw, what he learned from Halo and about the location of the creatures, and he would want to send that also through to the capital because we know that earlier on Lady Aristotle was keenly interested in that.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's a good idea.
All right. So a couple of notes will pass by your desk, Lady Alcantara, if you want to reply to them.
Right. The other thing, also, I just thought of this.
Mhm.
I might have done this yesterday. I might do it early this morning, but probably send off some sort of report to the War Queen about the bridge incident and what went down.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, you did it yesterday. You sent it with the
Yeah.
prisoners.
okay.
They had
Just
told
figured
you on
good
the
to-
other side that she wasn't there. She had moved to confront the
Right.
sword on the west
Well,
coast.
yeah. I mean, she might not be there, but I assume there's someone there who can take the note
Perfectly
and
fair.
either relay it to her or write it down where it needs to be written down.
Perfectly fair. Yeah, that said, Leaf, you wanted to try and get in on a meeting with the individual and Ballenroth. Alvin, just want to make sure if you want to throw a happen chance into the mix and have a lulzy situation. Early in the morning, getting your business back in order. Where do you want to head first?
I actually would want to go and get an idea of what is in the port now. I mean, I know I didn't do anything yesterday, but I would do those standard mundane things.
Yeah, well, you would have done that busy work already yesterday.
Is there anything of importance?
No,
like
the
around
last
port?
the only thing that's like important you already confronted, you already went to deal with, and that would be the Kurash ships that have entered into your port, and
Okay.
them wanting to build a port to the south. You would know that you would have to speak to one of the other high merchants in town, either Ballenroth or my brain's not working, but that other one. If you wanted to try and get wood migrated for that purpose instead of them trying
Okay.
to cut trees down.
Yeah, I would send a letter for that. Just correspondence. I don't think I need to be there in person for that.
Okay.
Let somebody send a message.
Is there any kind of movement that you want to do in the morning in particular? Or?
Yeah, I actually kind of want to take the ship out and just kind of survey the coast to see if there's any more signs of that one ship, that huge, like, Battlestar Galactica ship,
So
or
you would
anything.
you would know that's on the northern coast. Are you
Right.
wanting to go and check out there today?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
just kind of scouting.
Okay, you do know there are dwarven ships with them at this point, though.
Yeah, just scouting.
Okay. All right, we'll get back to you in a bit. Okay, so Cyril, you and Halo would note that on your way, are you heading to speak to Lady Alcantara, or were you just sending messages?
I think this is important enough to go to her in person. And
Okay.
If the time of day is appropriate for that.
Yeah, it's early morning, but you would note that on your way that way, you would notice that the sky ship leaves the Bright Star Lighthouse and heads north. That said, you make your way to the keep. Leaf, you are making your way to your meeting with Ballenroth. So you meet back up with my brain's not working. Let me find my notes. Hold on. You meet back up with
Your mom.
the name I gave you last time, which
Me or
was,
Cyril?
huh?
Talking to me or Cyril?
You.
Lipgren?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you meet with them, and they are heading towards Balthar's manse to go and speak to the dwarf merchant regarding the plan. So, did you take some time to think it over then?
Yes, I thought it over, and do you need anything from me to help?
Again, I am not very capable as a diplomat, so my intent is pretty drastic. But hopefully sufficient enough to stop the war.
Listen, how about I accompany you, and we could try a diplomatic solution first.
I assumed you'd want to speak to Balthar regarding this, so let us go and speak to him. You approach the manse, which is an old dwarvish tower on the southwestern side, not too far away from the Temple of the Bright Star. You'd see a couple of guards standing outside, dwarves. They appear to be wearing very similar garb to dwarves you killed yesterday. But they, again, appear to be servants of the merchant lord and not Ballenroth Kingdom. They see you approaching. They nod to the person you're traveling with, and they allow you access. You enter into the main chamber, which is a very circular shaped room with lots of doors that kind of head off to different locations. You know that dwarfs are keen on geometrical shapes, the circle being the hardest to defend, and usually used for more courtly and like more elegant looking locations, whereas more functional buildings will take other geometrical shapes, squares, triangles, what have you. An attendant, elvish woman, walks over to you and says, he expects you here, and gestures towards the door off to the way. Go quickly. And your associate nods, and you move over to one of the doors of this circular chamber and enter through. Sitting at a desk and standing up from that sitting position is a dwarf, grayish kind of hair, braided on his face, bald head, massive kind of bronze gauntlets on his hands. Looks up at you and says, Leaf? Sakyatelu, yes? You are pretty well talked about in the town. Is he? He is. Close the door. And your associate closes the door. Looks like one seat has been kind of placed out for you. He kind of places his hand on his desk, kind of shuffles some papers, kind of looks at you, and then kind of gestures to the chair behind you. One kind of pressed against the wall. Sorry, I wasn't expecting more than one guest, but if you want to draw yourself a chair, we'll move into our conversation. I did not know another foe fighter resided in the town along with me. Interesting to be sure.
It is a calling, and obviously we do not announce it.
That is accurate. But it's good to know that this town is watched over so well. My kinsmen are a constant source of discord in these parts. Hopefully what happened yesterday with Lady Alcantara is enough to stir them back into their mountains. But if not, he reaches down, you hear kind of a loud clicking noise, and then kind of a whir, and then you see him kind of pull up a parchment and toss it out onto the table. The attendant there with you says, "These are the maps?" Yeah, of course. That should be sufficient in getting you from the coast into Ballenroth's capital, Darkhelm. There you should be able to find the king's chamber and speak to him, or what have you. Whatever needs to be done.
I understand what you say, but I believe that we will be able to talk some sense into him.
Oh, you are planning on going as well?
Yes, I believe it may be necessary.
Very well. I highly suggest, if talking doesn't work outright, you shouldn't be too afraid of possible repercussions. The King Darkhelm has ruled for some time. is the main reason I live here instead of in my homeland. His desire for power is... it's unfortunate. The cult of personality he has formed within the noble houses has led to a very stark change in the way leadership handles the society as a whole. It would seem that he's drawn up a desire to re-establish a hold on the Rended Island, stripped away from those who have held it for so long. Who knows what will happen if he has his way, and how many countless generations of dwarfs beneath him will have their time in the Dragon Islands marred because of his brashness. Altaria sides with them, but I guarantee that they will not have as problematic a fallout as the dwarves will. This is not the first time the dwarves have been called out for their blatant disregard for the peace. Perhaps it would be best if he were just laid to rest. End it. And let some other noble who saw the mistakes of his predecessor take his place instead. Or talk him out of it, if you can.
My lord, I do not disagree with you, but we will see what happens when we talk. I understand what you are saying, and I believe that a greater peace will be had if he is no longer the ruler.
I don't want to make it sound like I am bloodthirsty in any way. That couldn't be farther from the truth. I just want to make sure you understand that King Darkhelm isn't someone that I am speaking about hyperbolically. It is someone I understand through experience.
Hey, John, I do have a question for you. Kind of like out here.
Shoot.
The other person that I'm going with, or I would be going with, is Lifgren. Is he a dwarf then?
Lifgren's a half-elf.
Half elf. Okay. So he already was planning on going there.
Yeah.
I said I would go with him. See, I wasn't sure. To me, it would make more sense if he was a dwarf, because then he would like kind of fit in. But
No, his plan is to
cool. If he would,
kill the Dwarf King.
his plan is to kill him. I'm gonna try to see if we can do any type of, if we could somehow use diplomacy. If that doesn't work, then obviously I could assist.
You may, you definitely want to think about your plan before you try and enact it. I just want to make sure you understand that foolhardiness in that regard might prove fatal. So.
Yeah, I think so. Going into the dwarf, the dwarf capital or whatever, and trying to kill their leader, that's going to be really hard to do. So.
Or just talk to them. That'd be really hard to do too. Well, no, it'd be really hard to do too, because it's not like, oh, you just appeared here randomly. Yeah, let's have a conversation. That's probably not going to be something that's likely.
Oh, I thought they had a good plan to talk to him in the first place.
No, their plan, the plan as it stands, with the map you were just given, there is a specific route that leads you directly to the capital, spelled with an O, not an A. The building that is the seat of power of the Darkhelm Kingdom. You can literally walk right into the throne room. Now, that's obviously advantageous for an assassin because it gives you perfect access to murder the man. Or dwarf in this case. If you want to discuss something with them, it definitely gives you an edge, sort of, but it also could elicit the reaction of, kill them. So, you definitely want to think about it and have a plan.
I agree. It sounded like one does not simply walk into Mordor.
One does not simply walk into Ballenrath, correct. Alright.
Yeah, signed up for
So, John, I think that the next thing that my character's going to do is just walk into Ball and Wrath.
That's fair. But
Yeah.
before that happens, Cyril and Halo show up.
Yeah, I'm like now I'm totally distracted now from what you're saying, and I wish that Cyril knew in character what Leaf is knowing in character about Darkhelm.
Oh, it's nothing. Leaf's just going to go and try to assassinate a Dwarf King. That's
Yeah,
all.
but just so Cyril's father was headed to Darkhelm, and Darkhelm is also the place where the schisms seem to be residing, at the eye of the earth. So it's an important place. I wish I knew. I want to get there. Anywho, so
Secrets are no fun.
I know, right? So anyway, Cyril and Halo would make their way to Alcantara. He would relay the news about what he learned from Halo's book, and I assume Halo would give a summary of what happened as well.
I already gave that to her through the Twilight
Yeah.
Night, so she knows what happened.
Right. So he would sort of basically help with the translation of the page of the book that they were able to recover, and suggest that they send some notes through the capital, so they could have some information about all this.
About all what in particular? Sorry. I
Sure.
in
no problem.
between now and you guys talking, there was Kevin's whole thing, so I'm trying to remember all the details.
Yeah. So basically, Cyril would have taken some notes about a couple of different things. First, it would have been the dwarven machine that was shot on the Drossi Bridge,
Right.
and second, the information about the schism, and specifically its location in that town that sounds a lot like our town.
Iskari way.
Right, and where they might be coming up from, those sort of rents in the earth underneath it and all that. And I know that Lady Arsnaudel was extremely interested in all the information. She basically stormed into the tower and grabbed as many things as she could about it, and they rolled Cyril for that info. So, but he would address it to Frederick the Untimely, which is the cool wizard that he met in the capital.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, of course we can easily send this off there. Would you prefer to go yourself?
Yeah, okay. That might be good. In character, he'd want to do that. Out of character, I want him to stay behind so we can go with Leaf.
Too bad. Leaf's on his own assassination plot. You'll have to find yours.
Andy, out of character, his new favorite person, and the one he wants to talk to the most is Kevin. And Kevin's character.
In
guess so.
character, no idea what's going on. So
Yeah.
let's get you on your way to that teleportation
All
circle, so
right,
you're suddenly
all
really
right.
far away from Leaf.
Yeah.
Halo, do you want to accompany him also, or do you have business to attend to?
My concern is we've lost a few hundred of our, like a couple hundred citizens that we sent out at this survey to the town. Are we not going to worry about the temple patrons and the merchants that we sent a week ago?
Okay, I missed that. Did a bunch of people go disappearing, John? That I just missed completely. In
Yeah,
like, out
I
of
don't know if
character?
you remember, but I sent temple patrons to build a settlement at Iskari Yanway, and you allowed one of the merchant kings, I think, not one of the merchant kings,
Well, yeah, I remember that, but I thought they
heirs, to go with them.
returned. I might have missed. them
My
not returning.
temple guy, my single temple follower, the guy who is one of my 3 retainers, came back to check in to let us know how the building was going. And then about, I guess it was 4 days ago now, he went back out to that settlement to go meet back up with the people. And then yesterday I went out there and no one was there. So all of the merchants and the initial troop of temple patrons that we sent to Iskari Yanwi to establish the settlement in case we lost the city have disappeared.
Okay, I might have missed that part somehow.
So that's
yeah.
why I'm reiterating that we have lost a significant number of our citizens and do not know where they are. So that's where Halo's concern is. I don't think Cyril needs a fucking buddy to hold his hand to go talk to another wizard. I think he's a big boy and can do that all by himself. So I am worried about the citizens that I thought were going to be safe in this old burned down city that like now may have been literally eaten by schisms, or because in the notes it said specifically these things eat indiscriminately, or
Right.
and now there are no citizens there. So I am hoping you'll do something about that, and I'm going to advocate for something to be done about that.
I mean, I could send a few sacrificial lambs, like literally just get some lambs and send them off to the town, and problem solved. No. This is one of those things where I honestly genuinely wish Tim was here, because probably what I'd do is send some of the militia with some of the monster hunters, just like something more official, and hopefully have Ulair actually be in charge of that. But as he's not here, I'm not sure I feel comfortable, John, with just up and deciding what Tim's character does.
Yeah, Tim's not here for you to decide what his character does. I told you he left. He's not around.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wish he was here, because I mean, like, I also don't feel like my character would. Who's in charge when Ulair's not here?
Not
Like,
really
'cause
much of
again-
anybody.
Yeah. Because again, what I'd want to do is again send some of the monster hunters with the guards, because you know
Yeah, you can definitely
monster hunters have the knowledge, guards have.
you can command them to go and do what you want them to. That's perfectly fine. They will follow your commands. Like, you don't need someone to do that. That's fine.
And I can lead that command. I may not be as combat efficient as Ulair, but I am, shall we say, charismatic.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, basically just like the basic idea is to figure out what's going on. The arms are more there to deal with things if things go south, but I prefer more gather information, find people if possible, and bring them
The
back.
other option is we can wait to hear back from the capital and see if they want to go and investigate ourselves, because I know our town's resources are wearing thin.
That's true.
So I don't know, actually, like, legitimately, you have no Twilight Guards left because you left them all on Yggdrasil Island. So you would be sending monster hunters and maybe some militiamen with me.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel confident in that retinue, like, the capital may send a whole new squad of fucking Twilight Knights just to go to Iskar Iyanwi after Cyril makes contact with them.
Yeah, we can wait to hear back and see what's said.
It's just
Caution. I mean, it's not going to delay things too much if we wait. So.
right. He's literally walking through a portal, like, you know what I mean. And if he takes his Twilight Knight with him, we'll be able to communicate immediately as soon as he speaks to someone at the capital. If they're not going to send someone, then we have a team ready to go. You know, if they do, we know we don't have to worry about risking our own dwindling forces. Does that make sense, Alcatra?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm not disagreeing with you. You know, that's fine.
Okay. So then I guess we wait to hear back from Cyril. But I am going to stay, and I do want to start, like, gathering a small retinue of, like, militia and some monster hunters who are willing to investigate the island if the capital doesn't send reinforcements.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be easy enough to gather that stuff up.
Okay. In the shuffle, as you all kind of move from place to place, you will note that you're passing by each other. Leaf is heading back to his abode. The other person is traveling with you, but seems to want to break away from you. They want to think about your plan after you've kind of elicited what you were going to say there, Leaf, and think about it. But you would also just see that it looks like Cyril's heading into the center of town. Halo's headed into the center of town.
For some reason, Cyril just has the overwhelming urge to start to talk to Leaf and ask him what's going on.
Tell me all about it.
I have an exclamation point over my head.
Yeah, really.
I would definitely, if I saw him walking by, I'd definitely be like, hello, Cyril, my friend. How are you?
Oh, Leaf. Well met. I'm on my way to the capital.
You see that the individual that he's traveling with, whose name I keep forgetting. What was it again, Kevin? Type it out for me because I'm lazy.
Is Lipgran,
Lipgran.
Venice, I think, son of Alpsar Venice. If that's the right person.
Yeah, see, I remember his freaking father's name. That's the funniest part. What was his first name? Sorry.
L.
Type it out. I can't hear you. You're cutting in and
Yeah.
out. You gotta hold that button down. Lefgren, that's right. So you would see that the individual he's traveling with is holding a parchment, and when he sees you, kind of starts acting kind of nervously. If you do approach Leaf to talk to him.
Okay. So I guess I would pay attention to that. Is there anything I can glean from the parchment?
Are you searching it over, or just taking a quick casual glance?
I mean, if I notice that he's being secretive, I would give it more than a little attention.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
The thing's going to be rolled up, so he's not going to be able to see.
No, I understand.
22.
Yeah, you're able to see inside of the ring of it. You can see the kind of corner marking of it. And in that corner marking, you see a very familiar looking corner mark, basically designating the author of the document or the person who drew the diagram or schematic therein. It's your father's mark.
So Sarah would stop in his tracks.
And Lefgren seems to be kind of
Leaf.
trying to hide the map away from you.
Do I have my Twilight Knight with me?
You do. Leaf has his.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I say, Leaf, who is this man to have that piece of paper?
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking to you.
Cyril, this is a.
Oh, snap.
His name is Lefgran Venice, and why? What are you talking about to have that piece of paper? What are you talking about?
It has my father's mark on it. Why does he have it?
Your father's mark. We just got this from the merchant, Balthar Cobblemug.
He is correct.
It is important. Leaf, you know me. It is important that I see this immediately.
He pulls it closer to his chest. He says, "No," and he looks to Leaf kind of like nervously.
Acting very strange, Cyril. I'm not sure what you mean.
So Cyril would pull Leaf aside and say,
Lefgren seems like he's heading off with document in tow.
he's heading off without Leaf? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he was
okay,
trying to
I mean,
separate
I
from
can't-
them originally.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to say, please hold, sir.
He turns and looks back at you and says, "No! I have business to deal with. Leaf, tell him. I don't know why it has your father's mark on it or whatever you say that it does, but I don't have time for this."
Hold on 1 second, my friend. Where I understand what Cyril's issue is. Just wait here for a minute.
Okay, he says to Leaf.
So then Cyril would explain to Leaf that he's been searching for his father, and he thinks that information about his father, who was last seen in Darkhelm, might lead us to more information about the schism. And it's more important that ever we find that information, because Halo has helped us understand that that there might be schism creatures nearby. We must act on this quickly.
Okay, I hear what you are saying. Let me see what I can do, and then I would say, "Wait here for me," and then I would go walk over to Lefgran, and I'd be like, "My friend, something has come up with Cyril. He is concerned about our document. If you would please let me borrow the document, and I will go and talk with Cyril about it, and then I will bring it right back to you, because obviously it's very important to me to ensure peace of the entire Dragon Isles."
No. I need the document for a time. I need 10 minutes with the document if you plan on taking it from you or with you. I don't want it to leave my sight, so I'll make sure that it cannot.
What are you talking about?
Give me 10 minutes. I need a table. I need a flat surface.
Hey, hang on one second. Let me go. I'd walk back to Cyril, and I'd say, "Cyril, how about I meet you with the doc? Name the place, and I will be there
You're,
in a half an hour."
You're cutting in and out. I don't know why that's the case.
You know, I hate this. Go over to what I had before.
Okay.
Because, give me 1 second.
no problem.
We're going to get the feedback.
John, does Cyril get the sense that this guy's going to make a run for it? He's really trying to prevent him from having this thing?
He said he needs 10 minutes and a flat surface.
Would Cyril have a sense of what that means?
Make an Arcana check.
I have a sense of what that means.
Like, if he's going to try to mess up the document or ruin it in any
He's
way?
not going to do that. He's going to try to copy it with magic, I'm guessing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm readying a sleep spell, basically. I'm about to use it
No,
on
no.
this guy. I need
No,
to-
no, listen, my friend Cyril. We have to have a little bit of trust. It is his document. He says he will bring it back. I mean, I will go with him and make sure he does not destroy it, and then I will meet up with you in a half an hour. And everything will be fine. Otherwise, if you do something more drastic, it is out of my hands at that point. You know, I don't know what's going to happen.
So that Cyril looks at Leaf in a way that he really hasn't looked at him before. This is really important.
He starts
Don't mess
walking.
this up.
I believe you, but I do not want to also break my relationship with this person either. This is a very delicate, you know. Maybe we can get together, all three of us, and have menage a trois. Oh wait, that was the wrong French word.
Oh, gee Christ.
That was the wrong French word. That didn't happen.
So,
Sure it wasn't.
If he's granted a flat surface in 10 minutes, he casts
Yeah.
a spell
Right.
after pulling a piece of parchment from his own pack. And you watch as the contents of the map, which he unfolds before you, transfer and duplicate on the page that he brought out. Yeah.
excellent.
He then takes his copy. Actually, he takes the original, hands you the copy, and actually, vice versa. He keeps the copy, you keep the original, and he says, "I suppose we'll talk later. Have fun with your mage." And he says that kind of condescendingly, and then walks away.
Cyril says, "Bite me," as he walks away.
He turns around and looks back at you.
That
Wow.
seems unpleasant for both of us.
I know, this is like the worst. When your two new friends fight, it's like, come on, guys, be friends.
So, as I mentioned, the map is unfolded. You see it for what it is, and you see that there are a number of different notes on it, as you saw before. It looks like there is a call and also tips being thrown out for the Dethrone El Contra campaign initiative, Looks like.
That's okay. I've got the execute those people initiative just
Sure.
to deal with it.
I hear that they're better at Overwatch than you, though, so that might be a problem. Anyways, back to the mappy maps. I got an ooh from the crowd, but back to the game. So the map in question, Andy, you note is written in your father's hand. It looks like it's written in Dwarvish. There is apparently a entryway to this network of caves that leads underneath the sea. It starts in Eldrazi, and it makes its way to the very seat of power in Ballenroth. You now have in front of you a document with your father's name that seems to show a route to the seat of power of the Dwarven Kingdom.
Yeah, this is where Cyril's going to want to go.
You'd also note there are several parts of the map that look like they've been omitted from this map, and they are intentionally notated by your father's hand as stay away from these pathways, keep out.
Out of curiosity, I take it going to the capital just isn't happening anymore.
I mean, I have notes. I could have anyone send them. You could have some sort of page or runner send them. Yeah, for sure. But I guess this is not something that Cyril would probably be able to endeavor on his own.
So, Leaf, yeah, you kind of definitely just showed your hand to Cyril.
Sorry, Leaf.
And I think Halo would probably have not been too far off. Or were you going to the same place, or are you going somewhere
No,
else?
I'm going to the Monster Hunter Guild to start getting people.
Perfect.
In case.
Technically,
That's happening.
I'd like to say, technically, because of the fact that we had said Cyril was going to go through the teleport, I'm the only one that knows the word to activate it, to my knowledge.
Incorrect.
And so
There's someone-
would have been with him.
There is someone at the site who's prepared to do it. You wouldn't have had to have done it.
Okay.
Getting down there and making sure that they are allowed to pass through every time someone wants to pass through is an impossibility for a lord or lady to have.
Okay. I wasn't sure, like, because
Yeah.
like, you know, last time we'd gone over it.
It's so currently it's the captain of the watch.
Alright.
It's your Twilight Knight captain. It's the attendant at the gate at your barracks. It's Leaf, but you don't know Leaf knows, and it's yourself, and also probably your attendant at your keep as well, but probably one that you're not. She knows it, but you don't know she knows it.
So this Left Grand would walk away, and it
Yep.
would be just Cyril and Leaf, and Cyril would look at Leaf and say, "Is there something you want to be telling us?"
Well, I did not expect you to basically shake down a person that was a friend of mine. That was not very cool, but I understand what you saw. You know, maybe you saw something you thought was important.
It was important.
Okay, I know it was also important to me, but you know, I think now that you know what it is, maybe you and I should basically break it down, because I have, you know, great knowledge of arcane and also of lore. So, you know, maybe I can help you, because I had there's stuff going on. You know, how about I just tell you as we work on this? That way it can kind of come out, as opposed to all out in the middle of the street where we are looking at this.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think we should bring it to El Contra so she knows as well.
You both realize that as you're having this conversation, both the Twilight Knights kind of
They're like literally.
they kind of look at you, and out of character note, Lady Alcontra, if you were concerned about knowing whether or not you would know there's a map in the town that shows a direct route to the king's seat of power, you know, because the Twilight Knight tells you.
Okay.
Well, we're heading there. Cyril's heading there anyway. That's where up to you. So yeah.
You can see a kind of look of just anger, kind of, and it's probably the first one you've ever seen. If Kevin's face is anything to allude to the way Leaf is actually probably feeling. Is that accurate, Kevin? Is Leaf kind of disgruntled? Muted.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Don't be mad at Cyril. John gave me that check.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, he's kind of mad that the whole thing happened. Like, he wasn't holding on to it, right? It was Leafgrand that was holding on to the
Yep.
map. So he's like, he doesn't know how this could possibly happen, but at the same time, you know, he's like, he didn't want to do anything bad against. He has no problem with Cyril, and when he heard about what's happening with the town, he was like, okay, that's a legitimate thing to do. So he's kind of torn and he's kind of upset, but you know, he doesn't really know what to do.
Yep. Well, the point of order, sorry, Matt, so you understand context. The Twilight Knight says your advisor, Cyril, has a map that shows a direct route to the Kingdom of Ballenroth according to what I was able to decipher. That's all. You do not get anything besides that, so don't think that you have context regarding Leaf at current.
Well, we're heading your way, so don't worry. It will be there momentarily.
The Twilight Knights tell you thus.
Cool.
Halo, you're able to grab up your cool kids. And out of character note, anybody who's wondering what's up with Dan, he's currently unconscious, I
Yes.
think. Don't worry about it.
Okay, no worries.
Yep.
Hope he's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. He sent me a message a while ago, and I said it was cool. But yeah, he fallen asleep at his desk. He said, "Game is
I mean,
boring."
those things do happen
Oh,
sometimes.
well. He wanted an RP heavy game, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm having fun.
Speaking of fun, so you arrive at the keep, Lady Alcantara on her throne, and who has the copy?
Yes, her throne of daggers. Not really.
Lady Alcantara, I assume you know about this map?
Well, Leaf would probably have the copy. I don't know if he would. Did he relinquish it? Kevin?
Yeah, I would have given it to
Cyril?
Cyril since it seemed so like, you
Important.
know, odd to have it. So, but I'm right there next to him.
I think there's some things we need to hash out.
Indeed. Leaf, what exactly is it that you're doing with this map?
No. Hold on. Did you just tell him about Leaf having the map, Cyril?
I thought that's what the Twilight Knight had communicated to
No,
me.
I just explained to you what the Twilight Knight communicated to you and specifically
I'm sorry.
said,
Only Cyril said the advisor had the map. So Cyril
My
would
bad.
say.
pay
would
attention.
ex-
Sorry, my
Cyril
bad.
would explain.
It's
Cyril
hard
would
keeping track of everything that's going on. versus
Fair enough.
learn.
So again, the Twilight Knight said to you,
It's hard.
your
My bad.
advisor, Cyril, has a map that shows a direct route from the Nadrasi Isle to the Kingdom of Ballenroth's seat of power. We are currently bringing it to you now.
So
Okay,
Cyril would
so-
explain that Cyril would explain that as he was walking to the teleportation circle, he saw Leaf and some stranger on the street. The stranger was acting suspiciously. He saw that he was carrying some paper with the mark of his father, demanded to see it, and this is what it is.
Right. So then I'd ask Leaf what he and his companion are doing with this paper.
Your lady, and then I would bow and try to kiss her hand if I could.
Nope, not happening.
Oh my gosh, she's the Ice Queen now. All right, what I would say is, my lady, I was just at the meeting with one of the merchant lords, Balthar. I was at his tower, and I was with my friend, my new friend, Lifgran Venice, son of Alfsar Venice, and we were given this map by Lord Balthar, you know, that is basically what happened. We were walking down the street, and as Cyril said, he saw us and demanded to see it, and one thing led to another, and my new friend showed us the map. So that is basically where we are. But I must say, I am, relieved that that Cyril now has it because he seems to. I did not know he had a connection to the map. I did not know that the map was, maybe drawn by his father or, as he is now saying. So in a way, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm also glad to hear about the problems that settlement is having because I want to help. This is my home, and if people are missing or anything like that, I want to help out. So there you have it, and I would bow, and a very deep bow, and then I would shut up.
Right. So for what purpose did Ballenroth give you the map? There must be some reason why he would hand it over to you.
Well, I must tell you, my lady.
And John, I'm going to say, in the intermediate, I have taken out.
I will point out something that you should be thinking about right now. So the reason why people think in this town that you were powerless and Balthar was powerful is because that's accurate. So I just want to make sure you understand. If Balthar gave Leaf that map and you start fucking with that merchant, you're not just fucking with Leaf. You're fucking with your whole town. So I just want to make sure you understand that before you start interrogating more. Continue, though. Please.
I'm fine with that. I'm still going to try to figure out what I can, but what I was going
Fair
to say
enough.
is...
I just want to make sure. If you want to bring Balthar in here to answer questions, I'm more than happy to play that game. Let's go that route.
Well, hold on, John. Can I actually
Go.
say what I'm trying to do?
Go ahead.
I take out a copper piece. I'm going to start flipping it. And while he's answering, I'm trying to see if he's thinking of anything else.
Okay.
Any sort of... That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to actually, interrogate Leaf on 2 levels, basically.
So since you're hitting his surface thoughts, you would be able to detect that as you're asking these questions and moving forward in this conversation. That, it's definitely a very simple situation where Leaf is not thinking about directly what he's thinking about. It seems like there's definitely a element of imagination in regards to what he's stating. Moving forward, continue the conversation past that point, but that same reserve. Kevin, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
16.
Yeah, you would know that Lady Alcantara has submitted you to a spell that doesn't require a saving throw, and he is aware of your surface thoughts. You, as an element of defense against that, because you're a pretty smart little man, will be able to make a deception check to basically try and guard your surface thoughts. It will require further prying from him to be able to detect how you are basically presenting your surface thoughts if your deception check beats his insight.
Important at this point?
Sorry, what was that?
I would be important at this point if I could.
To do?
To use for Kevin's deception check roll.
Well, no, Kevin didn't need
something I can.
Kevin didn't need to roll a deception check roll, so, and any one of your portents would have made his deception better. If you're trying to stop him from deceiving, then you don't want to switch his portent.
Trying to stop him from deceiving.
Yeah, you wouldn't do him any worse by giving him a 12, which is the lowest roll you got on portent. That'd be a 19 result.
Okay.
It doesn't replace the result, it replaces the dice roll.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he did not need to make a deception check, by the way, at that point. The only thing you could augment would be the Arcana check, which again, your rolls, your lowest roll, would not make his Arcana check any worse. So, yeah. And another thing on that, too, is you do not know he's lying, and shifting it is kind of a weird circumstance where you need to be aware of the thing that's being rolled. So
I understand.
We'll clue you in on the game. So continue your conversation. I will be at times asking you to make rolls, and you just need to stop it.
I supposed to answer something, or is Matt still asking a question? 'Cause
So-
I asked a question of why was it that Balthar gave you the map?
Correct.
Well, my lady, it is an interesting story because Balthar is actually a great fan of mine, and he's almost like a patron. So, he sometimes will just have me over to his tower to sing him a song or whatnot. But anyways, that is why. And he actually did not give the map to me, my lady. He actually gave it to my new friend Lefgran. He just came into town, and I was talking to him, and we have some stuff in common, and
Okay.
that is what happened.
Make an insight check. We'll go ahead and use Kevin's roll of result of 15. Go ahead and make an insight check. So you can see that there's definitely some shuffling in his surface thoughts. It does look like he is attempting to conceal. You aren't able to detect anything that he's concealing. He's definitely keeping that in the deeper grid, but it does look like the stuff that he is presenting forward in his surface thoughts appears to be forcibly being placed there.
Lady, did your bullshit meter go off? I don't say that, but
So, seeing as it seems as though he is lying,
not telling
Actually,
the truth, not necessarily lying. It's just not telling all the truth.
it's a lie of omission.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
still
that.
a lie. Actually, no. I'm just going to. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
because you wrote it down.
Looking at the factors here, though, it does appear that even if Leaf, the main thing that seems to kind of spark the surface thoughts shifting is Balthar is a fan of mine. You may even say a patron.
Right.
What you do gather from that is there is a much closer link between the merchant, Balthar Cobblemug, and Leaf Sashiatelu than you ever had known before. And you do not know what that link is, but you are aware that that is present.
Yeah. So he gave it to this other acquaintance of yours, Lefgran. I'm assuming did Lefgran. Sorry, this is me just being fuzzy. Did Lefgran did not come with him? It's just the
Absolutely
two of them,
not. Yeah, darted after making the copy.
Right. I'm assuming I'm not familiar with him at all.
Not at all.
Right. Okay, figured. Why? What can you tell me about Lefgran? How did you make his acquaintance? Is it simply through Balthar?
That is a very good question, my lady. Let me explain. Lefgran was somebody that I met when I came back from our big battle with the dwarves, and he happened to be with the. He was with the boy. What was it? Was he with
Korash.
He was with the Free United Kingdoms people, right?
Correct.
Correct. He he is a half elf. If I did not mention that before, and I just started talking to him, and we had a lot of similar likes in music, and then that is how we just kind of became friends. I found out that he knew he was acquainted with Balthar, and that is why we went over to speak with Balthar. So, I mean, that is basically all it is, and this whole situation is very weird because I mean, what is the chance that a person I meet would happen to have a piece of paper that Cyril would happen to think his father created? This is all a huge weird coincidence. I just do not understand it at all. I feel like I am kind of caught in the middle of a very weird sitcom or something.
It's almost like this whole experience has been scripted.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be crazy.
Oh, perfect. I just realized something. Okay, so Kevin, You're about to make a deception roll. Before you roll the dice, Andy, would you like to switch out the roll now? Because you do so before the roll, not after. Cheater.
Okay, so but I tried to do it before he rolled.
No,
I
no,
tried
no,
to-
no,
it
no,
was
no.
okay.
When he, what you can. No, what you did because he rolled the dice. It sounded like you were trying to replace his 15 with a 12.
Well, I was, but I was trying to ask whether I
Right.
could do
Well-
in this situation before he rolled it.
It has to be before the roll. So if you want to give him one of your portent rolls, now is the time for that. Before he rolls. Do you understand?
Roll.
Because again,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
so
it's
he'll
not.
get a 19 anyway, right? That's
Yeah.
a 19.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay, so you are not using portent. That said, Kevin, go ahead and roll me a deception check. Because most of the facts in what you stated were accurate, with the exception of one small thing, and your surface thoughts are, you know you're being detected, I would like you to make that deception check with advantage. Stop.
Yes, Leaf is humming ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum. That way his surface thoughts are all that stupid song.
Close, but yeah. All right. So, insight check from Lady Alcantara. Yeah. So, everything he said is accurate, based on what you're able to see. The only thing he seems to be shuffling is his connection to this Lefgren individual. And the same thing seems to be accurate. Basically, you're able to thread that Balthar, Leaf, and this Lefgren individual are in some way tethered. And you don't know why, but they are not. He's not willing to divulge with his surface thoughts. He is definitely shuffling it so it's not seen as a closer connection. But that tells you that there is a closer connection.
Well, I suppose it is a bit strange that your father's document ended up with. I have his name somewhere here.
Gran.
Lefgren.
No.
Ballenroth.
No.
Oh, right.
Your dad's paper ended up with Ballenroth.
Balthar.
Ballenroth gave it to Lefgren.
Balthar. Ballenroth is Bad Town. Balthar is the good guy.
Sorry, Balthar. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong parts of my
It's okay. It's okay.
Balthar, a dwarf formerly loyal to Ballenroth.
What he was
looking at the
fishing
wrong
for,
part of the
Andy,
B.
was your dad's name, which you can tell him.
Well, no, I was saying that it was strange that something.
No, I know,
Cyril's
but-
dad ended up with.
It sounded like you were fishing for Cyril's
Balthar.
dad's name.
No, I
Okay.
wasn't paying. I wasn't worried about.
I don't
Cyril's
remember.
dad's name.
That's fair.
Cyril
What?
would remind Alcantara that his father was last seen at Darkhelm.
Well, yeah,
No.
but
He wasn't last seen at Darkhelm. He was last seen going to Darkhelm.
again,
Yeah.
it seems strange that something of your father's would end up in a Balthar's. But my question for you, Cyril, is necessarily: are you certain that your father didn't perhaps give this to Balthar with some plan in mind?
I don't know why he would have done so. It's entirely possible, and it's also possible that Leaf here has some sort of plan in mind as well, one he's not telling us.
Perhaps he does it that.
Well, my lady, I would freely tell you that my plan is to become the best bard in all of Cicerionway, which actually I already am. I'm in the entire Rended Isles.
So the surface thought's still up. You recognize that he just told you the truth. And there is absolutely no lie in that statement.
Why
That's
would I lie about that?
genuinely his main desire. But, as a part of that, you also see that it's more troublingly said this time than any time you've ever seen him say it. For some reason, it feels like something has been forced upon Leaf. Something otherly. Something else. Some other agreement.
The only thing that I'm left wondering, and this is me, the player, is should I probe deeper, or do I have
So-
enough?
What happened to
I,
both?
I will say it as hostilely as I did before. If you want to fuck with Balthar, please, I cannot wait to have this conversation.
Well, I'd like to say, John, there's a difference between me necessarily fucking with Balthar and me getting all the information that I want.
Bring
Just
it.
because I have the information doesn't necessarily mean that I act on it the way that you're thinking I'm going to act on it.
Fair
It
enough.
just means I know what's going on in its entirety. Whether or not I want to act further upon that is going to be another decision.
You know what they said
All
about
right.
curiosity.
Could I say something to Lady Alcontra, because I've
go
been
ahead.
here. Leaf has been here with Cyril and Lady Alcontra, and he feels like it's starting to escalate. At least he, So what he would say is he'd say, "Lady Alcontra, I want to I want to impress on you the fact that I talked with Cyril and told him that I would help him to figure out this map possibly from his father, and then I told him that I would tell him what was going on as we did that. So I'm hoping that will be enough. I know you keep asking me questions. Maybe you do not believe me. I am telling you the truth. But I told Cyril that I would explain what was going on as we figured this out, and I am telling you that I will do that. You have my word. So please, let's end this now, and let Cyril and I get to work on this document. It
Same.
is important to Cyril, and therefore it is important to me.
Same situation. It seems like he is kind of pressed to the. Everything he said is genuine. There is no statement that is not untoward there, right, Kevin? You're not trying to deceive here.
No, I'm trying to prevent this from getting really. I feel like they're going to pretty soon start to hold me down and you're lying to me, and I don't want that to happen because that would be a crappy situation for all of us,
Right.
Especially me. So.
What you're seeing here is it's what he's he's telling you the truth, and it sounds like there's kind of this desire to keep the peace, a very strong desire to keep the peace.
Right, I'm going to cross my fingers, just pause for a second, make it seem like I'm thinking really deeply, and I want to press further into his thoughts. And
I'm gonna-
Andy, you
I'm
know
going to
what I
use
want.
that 12 now.
Yeah, so 12 plus whatever your wisdom saving throw is.
What's your wisdom saving throw modifier, Kevin?
It should just be your wisdom modifier, because
Yeah,
you're a bard, so...
yeah, but Leaf has a horrible wisdom modifier. It's 0 mod.
So 12 does not beat
Tasty.
Helped me.
the detect
Thank
thoughts.
you.
It does not.
12 does not beat my thing. My thing's a 16.
Yeah, so he is allowed to press into your thoughts. So that said, Kevin, you would feel violated. You would know that that's being done to you, and very.
I thought he only knew if I
Oh,
failed.
man.
Hold on a second. The target
failed-
either way, the target knows that you are probing into its mind, and unless you shift your attention to
Okay.
another creature's thoughts, the creature can use its action on its turn to make an intelligence check contested by your intelligence check to end your spell. So you'll basically, in the very first 6 seconds, glean the fact that Balthar, Lefgren, this other individual, and Leaf are a part of an organization. That's the first 6 seconds. I want you both to make intelligence checks to see who wins out the day, and see if Leaf can block you from getting deeper than that.
We shall see. Intelligence check, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like an intelligence save, or just click on intelligence?
Just an intelligence check.
Yep.
Intelligence check. I'm probably not going to beat him.
You know that Leaf is a member of the Foe Fighters, a group of individuals who are dedicated to the perseverance of peace in the realms, to ensure that all societies are allowed to keep their own sovereignty, or by right their dedication to their laws and cultures. He is a dedicated individual who gave up a lot of his duties a long time ago before moving to Kusari Yanwi, and has been seemingly recalled into this because the individual known as Lefgren is basically going to be walking into a suicidal attempt to go and kill the King of Darkhelm. And at that
Alright.
point, Leaf,
That's all that I'm going
you are
to.
you are aware that you have been violated in this way, and respond in kind.
That's all I'm going to probe in. I'm done for now.
Cyril see when this is happening.
Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. You would also note, make an Arcana check there, Kevin. I would give you advantage on this one because you are familiar with Cyril's techniques, having traveled with him for so long. You would know that the fates were manipulated in a way by Cyril, so that this violation was allowed by Cyril. So you were not only violated by Lady Alcontra, that violation was allowed by your quote-unquote friend,
Tag team.
Cyril.
When this happens, as soon as like she gets what she wants, you notice my total demeanor changes, and instead of being eager to help Cyril and everything, I'm just like, I just want to get out of there. You know, you could tell I don't say anything. I just.
Do you take the map or leave it?
Well, I was
he's
going
not
to.
Matt.
I was going to say when I got out, I was going to look at Cyril and say, Leaf should keep the map for now.
Cyril's having a hard time with that.
You weren't
That's
expecting that one, were you?
No, it was not.
In that case, that's great. I would like put my hand out to Cyril for the map because he has it right now.
You definitely, again, I don't think Leaf's demeanor has changed, but it went from plucky, happy, and Leaf to, I'm assuming, just angry as fuck. Like, I'm guessing. I'm not trying to force that on you, Kevin. Is that
No, I would say probably not angry, more like
stoic?
like a victim. Like
Yeah.
he's been victimized. Like after he offered to help him, now he's gonna stick his hand out. He just wants the map, and then you don't know where he's going after that.
Do you hand it over, Cyril, or do you hold on to it
There's
even
no
though
way
you're
that I
late?
can copy the map now? Or-
You don't have Omniscience as a spell, I don't believe, and you don't have 10
I
minutes.
do not. No, I don't have 10 minutes now.
Are you handing it over or no? The Twilight Knight seemed ready to relieve you of that map as the lady has commanded it.
That's fine, then I'll hand it over.
Fair enough.
Oh, damn it. I'm not gonna fight a Twilight Knight.
Yeah.
Leaf, the only thing I would ask is when you are done with the map, if Cyril could have it back. Perhaps if Balthar has no further need of it.
So, stop.
It is his father's.
Stopping for a second, you would know Lady Alcontra is privy to the information that's been gleaned from that detect thoughts. You would know Cyril is not privy to that, neither are the Twilight Knights present. No one is aware of the organization with the exception of your lady. So, based on her grace here and handing over the map at the end of this chicanery, your thoughts are your own. But yeah, you're moving out the door, right?
Yes, Leaf would basically take the map, and he would
That was tense.
basically walk out the door. I guess is his Twilight Knight going with him?
Your Twilight Knight continues with you,
Until-
unless Lady Alcontra recalls him.
Right.
Nope.
All right, and I will head out. And as I head out, I will eventually make my.
So,
go ahead.
solid play on the end there, Matt. 2 signs of trust handed out. Very good. I dig that. Gain inspiration for the play on that, though. That was pretty solid. I did not expect the map to get tossed out. It was just really good. Nice twist.
That was a
Thank you.
great play on her part because that actually was a nice thing she did. But then she ended up pissing off Cyril. So
Andy's fucking mad.
Everybody is just a little bit angry with Alcontra, as
Hey,
opposed to one person being very angry.
Angry.
I'd like to say really quickly, you know it's a good compromise when everyone leaves a little bit pissed.
Fair. It was definitely a good political play. I bow to that. But yeah, Leaf, where do you go immediately after leaving the keep?
tell you, Leaf wants to go directly to Balthar's place and give him
Okay.
his map back and tell him everything that happened, but he's actually not going to. He doesn't want to be rash, so he's going to go back to his place and sleep on it and figure out what he wants to do.
Fair enough. Yeah, cool. Back in the keep after Leaf leaves, Cyril, looking to Lady Alcontra. Alcantara.
Cyril knows that Alcantara did detect thoughts because he has that spell.
Make an
that
Arcana
he-
check.
Okay.
You had no idea. What you did notice is that when she basically focused the coin and kind of looked at it at him, she kind of forced you to take action. You felt that Leaf was resisting something at that point and that point alone, and you shifted the fates to switch Leaf's thoughts. You do not know the spell. You do not know the nature of the dialogue that was being. There was basically two levels of communication happening there. One you were not privy of. Kevin and Matt were way cooler than you at that point.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it doesn't make sense because Cyril knows the spell.
Yeah, but you did not notice that that was what was being cast. She did it so flippantly and so easily. I mean, if you study later and go, copper coin, what could that be? And then you kind of think about it, you might be able to pick it up like a couple hours later, but it's not going to help you at all in understanding the nature of that communication.
Okay.
Hell, you knowing the spell will give you advantage. Does that help you out with that roll, though?
No.
Think so.
Not.
All right. So, yeah. Do you have any communication to be had between the two of you before you?
Well, Cyril would definitely ask Alcantara if he's come away knowing anything more about what's going on.
See, now Andy sounds weird.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just like
Uh,
something's going
far
on
away?
in Discord, right?
Yeah, I think you were leaning too far away. It's coming in muffled.
Might
Yeah,
be
I
that.
have to use my fancy mic.
Yeah, it looked like you were doing a gangster lane, and I was like, not getting it in. You were like, well, fuck you then. Took my damn map, you son of a bitches.
He may be up to something, but Balthar is. He's been around for a while, and he is quite a formidable foe. We do not necessarily wish to fall into a lion's den at this moment when we're already facing off against an enemy in front of us.
That's certainly wisdom. But as you know, he sort of pauses for a second. The ties of family are strong, and our desire to connect with our parents remains. And he sort of looks at her, because she knows exactly what he means.
I understand, and I do not necessarily envy you of this position. As I said, I would hope that Leaf, when he and Balthar are done, will give the map back to you, as I do believe it belongs to you. But, for the time being, I don't feel as though there's much that I can do without causing more problem than either of us can handle at this point.
Cyril says, very well.
Hey, Halo, what are you doing? Got your militia folks, so you heading back down to, Iskarianri?
No, I thought we were waiting to hear back from the capital. So I just wanted to, like,
Nobody sent that message.
I'm literally putting people on notice that, like, the lady may want to send us to Iskarianwi, but we're
Yeah.
literally waiting to hear back from the capital. So I'm waiting to get a message through my Twilight Knight saying that, like,
Okay.
the lady Alcantara has heard something from them.
Okay, eventually you get a message back that says no, nothing has been relayed. Cyril, the person who is to deliver the message through the gate, has not made his way through yet. Other matters have arisen and are being explored at the keep. That said, Cyril, as you...
Okay, then I guess I'm gonna go to the fucking portal. If Cyril's not gonna do his goddamn job.
Fair. Cyril, as you're breaking away from Lady Alcantara and kind of thinking about it and trying to remember every little detail that you saw about that map, and do you speak Dwarvish or no? No?
Checking.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Go ahead and make an intelligence check with advantage as you're thinking about every little detail you saw on the map. 16. As you're thinking and kind of walking down the pathway to the arch and on towards the Tower of Lore, you don't even see that Halo's approaching you, but as you're thinking about it, your mind kind of rests on a memory of the map, and you think about it, and you remember looking at the notes. What you don't remember specifically looking at the time and in the heat of the moment was that you and your father, and basically most mages worth their salt, will always put a date stamp next to the notations. And you start looking back into your mind, and you don't have the map to prove it, but you keep thinking back to that note stamp, and you remember it looking like it was made 3 months ago.
Oh shit.
And that's where we'll end the session for tonight. Thanks for watching. Pick up in a week. Alrighty. Yep. And apparently, all hail Lord Cyril. Apparently, Andy.
Brett is trying to dethrone you hard.
Andy has 1 fan, which is more than I guess anybody else needed to get some fans, I guess. And then, yeah.
I think Brent is hating on
Brent's
Matt
giving me a hard time.
Yeah, Brett, don't worry. You know what? If you want to give him a hard time, 5 to 7 on Sundays.
Game.
That's what
I'd like to say I think I'm playing the political game quite well there.
I concur. I 100% concur. That was a solid play. But yeah, we'll pick up next session. Thanks for watching Killing the Stream.